What's up, everyone? This is Adam Gillespie with Rancid and Sweaty Calves coming at you with yet another video. Today we'll be addressing something in regards to the Disney CEO by the name of Bob Chapek, where he addresses the company's response to Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill. Now, for those of you who don't know, I do live in Florida. The Don't Say Gay bill has been greatly misproportioned by the mainstream media, by leftist propagandists, by social justice warriors, the LGBTQ plus community. Basically, if you want the actual basic definition of what the so-called Don't Say Gay bill is all about, the bill is telling schools, hey, you can't teach sexual stuff to third graders or below. I still think that's too young for fourth graders to learn. I think you shouldn't learn about sexual deviancy or sexual anything until you're in high school, when most people generally have some level of interest, okay? Because a lot of times, hormones are flaring in high school. They're not flaring necessarily for, at least in little boys or little girls, in third grade and younger. I know, I grew up. I used to be a small child, and I had... I'm not going to go too in depth. All I'm saying is the bill that they're talking about in this is a bill passed in Florida where it's not allowed to have sexual deviancy or sexual propaganda placed within the curriculum of an individual in school. The only people who should be upset about that are people who are trying to groom children into doing things sexually for them, which is criminal, it's disgusting, it's pedophilic, it's horrific, it's honestly some of the most disgusting things I could think of, and there are people fighting against the right for children's minds not to be corrupted by sexual deviancy or by sexual immorality or by people who are trying to groom them. And that's just ridiculous. And the fact that people are getting up in arms about Disney's CEO Bob Chapek addressing it in kind of like an interesting way. I'm actually going to X out of this tab. If you check down here, Bob Chapek basically responded by saying, Disney's CEO Bob Chapek claims company is a force for inclusion, but does not want it to become a political football. Kind of late when you supported companies like BLM, organizations like BLM, other leftist propaganda groups, and when you deliberately exclude conservatives or people of Republican descent or white people from your mainstream projects. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean you deliberately take characters from the comics who are straight, you switch them over to be gay, you deliberately make extremely diverse casting calls against what the actual comic book character looks like. You deliberately make stories where you make the white guy look evil. I mean, take a look at Black Panther alone. The only white guy in the movie that there is, like apart from Andy Serkis's character, is called a colonizer, right? A colonizer, while that same group of people who was calling him a colonizer literally colonized a large portion of Africa. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now Bob Chapek, he's obviously a political figure. Disney is a political company. It's very leftist. It's very social justice warrior exclusive. It's very, very much so a leftist organization. I'm going to read a little bit of this article, and I'm going to try to not make this review too long. But we've got Disney CEO Bob Chapek sent out a company-wide email following a meeting he had with Disney LGBTQ plus leaders following criticism the company received for activists and allegedly employees over a pending Florida legislation that prohibits schools from teaching about gender identity through the third grade. Again, gender identity. Not even necessarily the basics of how sex works, or the basics of how your body works, or the basics of how sexual organs works. It's literally, oh, do you wanna be with a man when you grow up, little Timmy? Great, let me show you how to. Let me show you how you can properly have sex with another man. That's basically what the Florida bill is saying that is going to be excluded. It's excluding porn from being in third grade and younger. I think that's still too young. I seriously do. It's excluding people from grooming children into having these completely confused sexual minds where these kids are literally having their brains twisted in this way that shouldn't happen, a way that is criminal if you ask me, and a way that is just devious. It's devious. It really is. But people are up in arms about that, and people are calling for Disney's CEO Bob Chapek to make a public apology and his public statement on not supporting one specific organization, which they already have, isn't good enough. So let's go here. As previously reported, Disney faced criticism for activists over the fact that he had not publicly condemned Florida Bill HB 1557, Parents' Rights in Education. Again, so the bill is called Parental Rights in Education, and the left is calling it the Don't Say Gay Bill. So basically what this, again, if you want some more information on this, I would look up the bill for yourself. But to kind of overview it for a third time, parents don't want their kids to be sexually groomed by their teachers or by the public school system into thinking it's okay to sleep with a grown man or for a grown woman to take abuse on them. It's not okay, it is criminal, and the only people who would genuinely find a problem with this are the ones trying to groom children to do that. It is evil, it is criminal, and it should be condemned. Not the bill, the people trying to fight against the bill should be condemned for their actions. According to the Florida Senate's website, the bill requires district school boards to adopt a procedure that comport with certain provisions of law for notifying students' parents of specified information, requires such procedures to reinforce fundamental right of parents to make decisions regarding upbringing and control of their children, prohibits school district from adopting procedures or student support forms that prohibit school district personnel from notifying parent about specified information, or that encouraging student to withhold from parents such information. Again, it's basically trying to stop parents from stop teachers from grooming children and giving parents a little bit more authority in what it is that their kids learn. You know, like the basics: arithmetic, writing, history, real history too, not that stupid 1669 bull crap or anything else like that, or the extremely racist history that has been propagated by the left. Let's go ahead and move on down here. Basically, if you want to read a little bit about the bill, you can check it out here, but you can also look up that bill for yourself, HB 1557, Parental Rights in Education. I'm going to go scroll down just a little bit to actually get to his email. And in response on the bill, Disney initially released a statement that reads, "We understand how important the issue is to our LGBTQ+ employees and many others. For nearly a century, Disney has been a unifying force that brings people together, except for when you support major leftist organizations like BLM that burn down the country for half a year, and then you claim that only Republicans are evil." So here we got some more. "We are determined that it remains a place where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. The biggest impact we can have in creating a more inclusive world is through the inspiring we content produce." Wow. "The welcoming culture we create here and the diverse community organizations we support, including those representing the LGBTQ+ community," the statement concludes. And really, that's just so... I'm sick of the pandering. I mean, seriously, I'm sick of the pandering. If it was in style for them not to support LGBTQ+, because the Democrats said so, they'd be not supporting... They would not support the LGBTQ+ community. But they do, because they've been told if they don't, then they're going to get ratioed and they're going to get fined and all this other stupid stuff. Now the company's CEO, Bob Chapek, sent a company-wide email obtained by Blog Mickey. Thanks, Blog Mickey. In the email, Chapek begins... Oh, sorry for the burp there. In the email, Chapek begins by discussing Ukraine before moving on to the point of the email, which is his discussion with the Disney LGBTQ+ leaders and the Florida bill. So really, he's trying to make it seem like he's some noble person who cares about everyone by addressing Ukraine in an email that doesn't even need to address Ukraine, because he's talking about LGBTQ+ community type stuff, not a war over in a war-torn country like Russia and Ukraine. Yet he's still talking about that as if it's somehow important or relevant to the point. And here we go. He begins the main point of the email writing, "On Friday, I met with a small group of Disney LGBTQ+ leaders to discuss controversial legislation pending in Florida that would impact their communities. I want to thank them for a meaningful, illuminating, and at times deeply moving conversation." Again, a lot of that is pandering language. It's language that says, "Oh, I was so moved. They were so loving, so kind, so impressively beautiful. Oh my goodness." All that, it's literally just, "Oh, look at how much I support the LGBTQ+ community." It's literally that's literally all it is. It's not I genuinely care about this. It's not, "Oh my goodness, I was really deeply moved." It was more so along the lines of, Wow, I'm gonna put as much language in this that I can to make it seem like I'm a really nice guy to these people. I told the group I would write to the entire company with my thoughts on the issues we discussed. I wish every one of our employees could have heard not just the passionate voices in the room, but the bravery, honesty, and pride. Honestly, at this point, he should literally just capitalize every word, and we should put a smiley face emoji or rolling eyes emoji at the end of every single one of his statements. Those voices expressed, it was a conversation I will not forget, he stated. And we're going to move on just a little bit quicker. It's so ridiculous. I mean, take a look here. You got Marvel. Literally, what's happening? Bobby, you're gay. That was from the X-Men comics way, like maybe a couple of years ago. Yeah, back in 2015. So that was like what, 7 years ago. 7 years ago, they definitively sexually swapped a main character of the X-Men franchise so that they could get some diversity points within the LGBTQ plus community. Take it. Remember, the LGBTQ plus community claims that your sexuality is not a choice. Yet in this comic, you're literally Bobby Iceman is literally told, "Hey, you're gay," and he goes, "Oh, okay, I'm gay." That's literally what happens. So, is it a choice? Is it not a choice? I tend to believe it is a choice. You can choose to whoever you want to sleep with. Okay, that is the truth. You have a choice with whoever it is that you end up with. That's not you. That's not you having some sort of proclivity to that in any sense of the word. I genuinely believe it's a choice, and you can choose, and you can deny yourself things that you know aren't right, or you can allow yourself to do things that are right. Everything in life is a choice except for things like breathing and your heart pumping. You know, those are the things that are out of your control because they just go on unless you shoot yourself or something like that. Not trying to say that you should. I don't know why I'm on this tangent. It just frustrates me to see someone getting so overly agitated and taking so many unnecessary measures about a bill that is supposed to keep people from grooming children and acting very pedophilic towards them. Yet it's somehow supposed to be a part of the LGBTQ plus community. You guys really want to be a part of that? You really want to be a part of the community that's going to fight against children being sexually abused? Is that really what you want? Okay. One common theme was disappointment that the company has not issued a public statement condemning the legislation. The disappointment was compounded by the fact that, while not perfect, our company has a long history of supporting the LGBTQ plus community and, in fact, has played an important role in the personal journeys of so many of our employees. He then declared, "I want to be crystal clear, and I, the entire leadership team, unequivocally stand for support in the LGBTQ plus communities, their community employees, and their families and their communities." Again, just tons of empty, "Oh, I'm virtue signaling to you. Look at how much I care about you people. Look at how much I appreciate you. Blah, 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 blah." And we are committed to creating a more inclusive company and world. I understand that the very need to reiterate that commitment means we still have more work to do, he added. And I'm not going to cover more beyond that because that's really just so ridiculous. It's pointless. He starts off with virtue signaling about Ukraine. Then he goes into virtue signaling with the LGBTQ plus community. And if you look here, you've got a bunch of established characters like Loki, who's probably a little bit more sexually explicit in the comics. I can understand that because he's the god of mischief. Then you've got a character like Iceman, who was dating women pretty much from the beginning of his creation. Then you have Jean Grey saying, "Oh my goodness, you're gay," and he just goes along with it, and he starts going around sleeping with men. And then you've got Valkyrie, who's gay, and then you've got an established character like Star-Lord, who's been turned into a bisexual individual. That's what happens. They literally take these characters, they take them, and then they switch up their sexuality just so that they can get something, out there for the LGBTQ plus community, instead of creating a character that could encapsulate their ideology, their sexuality, their sexual preferences, their relationship status. They take characters that are already established and manipulate them into being a certain way and being something different. And it is agitating beyond belief to see that. I'm sick and tired of seeing this. It's ridiculous. Here we've got another example, Marauders number 12. It's all virtue signaling. It's all virtue signaling. This major media corporation, Disney and Bob Chapek, he doesn't really care about them. He's doing it so that he can get their support. He can get their money. That's what it is. It's the hot, fresh thing that people are hopping on the trend of. That's all that this is for major media corporations. They don't genuinely care about people who have these these different sexual preferences. They genuinely just want money, and they're going to pander to whichever community they think is speaking the loudest and is the largest, so that they can get where they want with their funds. That's all it is. If you don't believe me, take a look at all the stuff they made beforehand, and then look at what happened in the past 10 years alone. The past 10 years alone, we have seen a massive shifting of characters from what their established identities were to what they are now, which is a completely different character from what they should be. Now, I'm not going to keep going on and on about this. I felt the need to discuss this because it's ridiculous and it's stupid, and Bob Chapek needs to shut his mouth and just go about making good content first and foremost, and then worry about the whole sexual diversity thing second, okay? Worry about a good story and making sure that your company is profitable, and then worry about making characters who have the desire to sleep around with different people, okay? Don't focus on their sexuality first. And certainly don't fight against a bill that's trying to stop children from being groomed within the classroom, okay? Don't do that. That's ridiculous. Stop trying to fight against a bill that's trying to prohibit children from being indoctrinated into believing that porn is a normal thing for a person to get involved with, especially at their age. There's tons of people who are addicted to porn, okay? And they should stop because it's actually it's hurting their sexual ability, it's hurting their relationships. It is an addiction. It is an addiction, and it's bad for individuals to be addicted to porn. Now, again, I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit, melted in terms of the brand right now. This article got me way more agitated than I thought it would. But the idea that there is a major media corporation trying to condemn a bill that is against children being groomed by grown adults is unfathomable to me. So I do apologize if I yelled a little bit more than I normally would, or if I was a little bit more agitated than I normally am. But the channel is the series is called Rancid, so I'm going to rant a little bit sometimes here and there, probably every video. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found it educational. If you haven't, go check out Bill HB 1557. Read it for yourself. Actually learn what it is. It's not about suppressing gay people. It's not about making sure that gay people can't exist in public schools. It's about making sure that children don't get groomed sexually by teachers. That's what the bill's about. I hope you guys do take the time to look at it. Again, it's very important that bill gets passed because there has been a massive problem within the school systems across all of America with children being groomed by grown adults, and it shouldn't be happening. It should be reported to the police, and that those teachers should lose their jobs. Those teachers should be put in jail, and they should be accused of sexual crimes, and it's not okay. It's really not okay, and it needs to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is if people vote in the law that teachers can't sexually exploit their students. Okay. But that's been it for today, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You guys have been awesome so far. I got like 1,800 views on one of my videos. It's awesome to see. I love seeing the community grow. I love seeing the fellowship become, expand. I would love to see if in the comments you guys were to like talk with each other, express your own opinions. Really make it like a brotherhood. Really make it like a fellowship. Make it something like you're talking to people and it's just like your closest friends. That would be awesome. I love it. I love seeing you guys engage with each other. I love seeing people engage in commentary on the videos. I love seeing it. It means a lot to me. I've got 40 subscribers now. I never thought I'd get 40 subscribers. It's so cool. It really is. It's nice to see that the channel's growing and the fellowship is getting stronger. Again, I love you guys. I hope you have a great day and a great rest of the week.